Hi, my name is Stephanie Walsh. I am interviewing the guys from Craig The Genie.
Hey.
Hey, can you guys introduce yourselves for the audience?
Oh, yes. Hi, I'm Joey Richter, and I'm playing Craig.
I'm Brandon Blanks. I wrote and directed it. I'm going to.
I'm Pat. I'm playing Pat.
I'm Andrew Dave Spargo. I'm playing Google.
My name is Jordan Kelly. I helped write the pilot with Brandon Blanks, and I'm also producing the project.
Awesome. Okay. Well, how do you guys know each other?
Pat, you want to take that one?
Yeah, we all are friends since high school at the most recent, and in some cases, like as far back as elementary school. So
Joey and I were actually in the same kindergarten class.
Yeah.
Joey and I have been friends since we were 5 years old.
Jordan, super long ago, and Jordan and I were pen pals. Jordan went to a different elementary school, but Jordan and I were pen pals in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
So we wrote letters to each other.
Yeah,
Not like me to Jordan.
Yeah, that's true. Joey wrote me a letter in 2nd grade, and he asked what I was into, and he said he was into monster movie characters. He said he was into Frankenstein and the Wolfman, and I thought that was cool. So that's kind of probably still why we're friends.
Yeah.
I only like you because you like Monster Squad.
That's probably the only
That's a
reason
great
why
movie.
I
Oh
like
my
myself.
god, that is a great movie.
Very true.
And Joey and myself met Brandon in 7th grade, 6th grade drama. We were just in a drama class, and we were just doing fun stuff together.
Yep.
Pat came along in high
and
school.
then I just kind of tagged along at a certain point.
Yeah.
Like high school, early high school.
Pat appeared in freshman year of high school and was immediately known for his different view of the world.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Curly
nicest. That's the nicest way to put it.
Pat was a legend for a while. Brandon knew him. And
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to tell that?
Yeah, I met Pat in a couple classes, and he was just this kind of weird. Well, you went to Catholic school.
I went to
forever.
Catholic middle school, and then didn't know these guys until we went to the same high school.
Right.
So
he didn't really know anyone.
Yeah.
He was in a couple of my classes. I always thought he was weird and funny. He used to draw. He would just be like, "Check this out," and it'd be like a bear with like stripper nipple tassels on it. He'd be like, "What do you think of that?" And then, honestly,
What do you think of that?
Me and Pat became really good friends because there was we had to do a plant project where we went around like taking pictures of plants, and I needed a partner, and I was just on. And I'm like, "Oh, Pat, you need a partner?" And then we did the plant project. And I ended up throwing like a poisonous barb at your arm, and it stuck in your arm because I just thought it was funny, and then it swelled up, and then that's like really how we first met.
night in the hospital, it was hilarious.
And then we always thought he was funny, and so junior year he got on the improv team at our high school with me and Joey and Drew, and then that's how we all became like really good friends.
Yeah, and by senior year, we were all on the improv team, and Jordan was the host of the improv show, and that was where we really got really
Our Drew
tight.
Carey.
Yeah.
That's
Black Drew Carey.
Okay, well, where did the idea of Craig the Genie come from?
Sorry, you were.
Yes. Can you say that again?
I
Yeah.
will say that again. Where did the idea of Craig the Genie come from?
Yeah. That was just like an idea I had when I was in film school, like 2009, 2010. The original idea was it would be about a guy who he was a genie, but he had to grant Pat 100 wishes or he couldn't leave, and he was just like a really crappy roommate. And so like the idea was that in order to like get rid of this burden, it's like what if you had a genie but it was like totally not worth it? Like he didn't have powers, he just kind of had to help you. He was just like obligated to help you. Kind of like Ella Enchanted, where he had to grant you wishes, but he was like really bad at it. He was just like a dude.
Well, and like most of your creations, it kind of came out of just doodling.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were just kind of drawing Joey.
And then so the sketches that are like on our Kickstarter, those were I was really into like reading Scott Pilgrim that summer, and so I just kind of like was like, oh, what if I do this as like a comic book? And so I just drew some sketches, and then last year in college, I wanted to write my first screenplay, and I was just kind of thinking of like ideas I had, and I sat down, I was like sitting. Just like started writing Craig the Genie. I'm like, oh, what about that one idea with the genie? So I started writing for like a half hour, and then my friend Graham, who's a producer and cinematographer on this, is actually filming this right now. He texts me and he goes, after not talking to him for like a year, he's like, hey, whatever happened with that genie movie? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I literally just started writing this after like half an hour into just like randomly doing it. So then I just started writing it, and so I wrote a full length feature screenplay, and then when I moved to LA, I reconnected with Graham, and because like TV shows are really popular right now, he's like, what if we try and adapt it into a TV show? And so that's what the pilot is. So it's an adaptation of like an idea turned into a screenplay.
But it also exists.
Yeah,
as kind of like
it's like
happening after the theoretical movie would happen. So
the
it's
TV show
like,
is the sequel.
Yeah, the TV shows. Yeah, it takes place a year after Craig's been freed. Whereas like in the movie, he gets Craig for the first time. So yeah, so we can always make a movie if it ever takes off. So.
This is
like a Star Wars thing.
We'll start the Kickstarter for the movie next.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Twin Peaks Firewalk with me.
Yeah, it's like a prequel movie. You know?
We're just like David Lynch movies.
Yes.
Those happen though. So is the Kickstarter is just for the pilot?
Yeah, the Kickstarter is just for the pilot. That's what we're the screenplay is just kind of like a reference now and maybe possibly to be made. You know.
Yeah, it's a 30-minute episodic series. That's the idea for it. You know, we want to be able to fit it on a network, you know, with commercials and everything, or be able to have it run on a streaming site like Netflix or Hulu or whatever. You know, have that sort of dynamic where we can fit into that sort of block time frame. But we can also, you know, we also have the possibility of taking it to the web or to whoever wants us. That's the idea. Yeah. Really.
Okay.
And it's a lot of.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Good. We're good. This question will probably. What I was going to say will probably just get brought up in the next in talking more about it.
Okay.
Suspense.
They care more about you than they care about me. Just pointing that out.
No.
A lot of people have been wondering, like I've seen this a few times, is it a show about a show, or is it...
No.
That
was just, the idea is we wanted to, you know, a lot of Kickstarter videos are just like talking heads of people saying like, oh, it's basically just what this is us like talking about the project. We kind of wanted to give them kind of like a taste of like sort of what the show's going to be like with the characters. That's why it says like a Kickstarter from the characters of Craig the Genie. So yeah, the show is not going to be about a genie making a TV show. That's just kind of like our meta.
Yeah, that was just a way to be like, you know, to say how, exactly. Like, how do you get people to realize or to see what kind, you know, what they would be backing? It's like, well, just have the characters have the characters be the ones asking, you know, and sometimes I feel bad because we're not as douchey as Craig is. Yeah. Craig's not like yeah, come on, but like that's kind of his character. Where he thinks he's all hot stuff, but it's pretty. Yeah, it's a labor of love, you know. So I guess the best way to do it was to do it in the characters that you know that we would be playing and writing for. So
once the show starts, we're just going to pretend that the Kickstarter video never happened.
Right.
It's just kind of,
it won't ever be referenced.
Yeah, the show is a fantasy adventure roommate comedy. It has nothing to do with about making a television show at all.
That could be an episode premise, though.
Very true.
Perhaps. If we ever get threatened to be canceled, like Arrested Development or something, we'll do an episode. Do an episode where we want to make the movie or show that we're going to do.
I watched all the episodes.
I've also gotten a lot of questions about additional characters or guest stars.
Yeah, we really like the idea of coming from a place where we incorporate people who are fan favorites, and we do have a lot of openings and opportunities for that sort of thing. You know, whether or not we have any of those things in motion, that remains unsaid. But you know, that's definitely a possibility. Yes.
Yeah. See, this is what I was gonna. This is perfect because I knew we'd get a question that would be something like this earlier, where it's like what the best part about this show and this concept is that it's kind of it's very high concept. So we've been chatting, and you know, it's not nothing that we're going to talk about, but we've been chatting so much over the past couple days about the possibilities that can happen with this idea, and they're endless. Because we've just been chatting, and you know what, you guys have got like arcs 3 seasons ahead, like arcs already planned about what's going to happen. You know, theoretically, obviously, but the possibilities are endless with this, which is pretty fun. And magic is cool.
Magic's so cool, and
Genes are cool.
We all come from like different walks of comedy that like we've gathered so many peers that are just so funny and inspire us so much that there's endless possibilities of bringing on other friends that we all have from different circles. Obviously, Joey's circle and Brandon's circle, and Davis and Birdstrike, and so we've got so many people that we just love their work so much. We love to put them on. So there are guest stars that may not really seem that guest starry to you, but to us, it's a great pleasure to have them.
And who knows? Maybe they do seem guest starry to you. It's like maybe you didn't even know there was a connection there. You know, so there's that kind of stuff floating.
But we definitely are peaking with this. Like this is probably the biggest thing we'll ever do. We're gonna get all these people, and then it'll be it. Then we're gonna go out on a high note.
If you could have anyone on the show, theoretically, who would you want to work with?
Dude, totally George.
Yeah, because he's cool.
Dice Clay.
Yeah, Dice Clay. Man.
I feel like Patton Oswalt would think that we were pretty fun. Yeah. Maybe that's like a terrible thing to put out in the universe because then when he's like, no, but I would enjoy him being around at some point. That'd be great.
Yeah, we just I'd like to love to write a part for someone that I just kind of want to work with that I'm a big fan of, and that's like a nice way of being like, hey, I'm not a big fan, I wrote this movie, so be in my movie because I really like, it's like I like the idea of writing for people and just kind of working them in because we want to do like an episodic thing where it's like maybe every episode there's like a new kind of like, I always think of Pokemon as like a go-to episodic thing. It's like, there's like a new mystery to be solved every episode, and so there's always room for like a guest character, but also like
new town, new Pokemon.
Yeah, it's like that sort of thing. It's like, where it's always a new
gym.
New battle. Apparently Doctor Who, which I've never seen, though Drew tells me I should watch it, is like that. The kind of like, I know. I'm sorry.
I started.
So so it's like kind of like episodic, where it's like Star Trek does that too, where they go to like a different So that could just like a lot of room for cameos because essentially we're trying to maybe introduce like a new idea or character every episode.
Going to a different planet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
different planet every week.
Yeah.
There's always, especially there's always a different
Pokemon.
There's always a different Pokemon, and there's always a different artifact. There's always a different something in history that's magical that we have to show.
Maybe.
Why not?
There's jokes too where it's like the fact that because that Craig has existed so long in history that there's so many historical events he knows about and like firsthand because he was there. That like Pat, whose character is like a bit of a history buff, like thinks he knows. So there's a lot, there's a lot of stuff like very Wishbone-esque maybe.
Yeah,
that's also very Doctor Who.
Or like exactly.
It's also got Reaper vibes if you're familiar with that show. Because they have that's kind of Ghostbusters-y a little bit. It's kind of like the Ghostbusters cartoon. There's like a different ghost every episode.
Wow. Like an artifact. We were talking about artifacts like that. Because
you've seen the format 100 times. I mean, it's
But it works.
But this time it's in a museum.
It's like that.
Okay, well, I have to ask, Jordan, where did you start in Doctor Who? Just real quick, and then we'll get back to it.
I know, okay, I started at Matt Smith. Please don't.
I told him that if he started with Matt Smith, he did.
I'm going back. I'm only 2 episodes. Only 2 episodes in. It's just enough to whet my appetite. I'm going to go back. I don't even know how far I'll go back. How far should I go back?
Season 1. You need to go back to season 1.
Okay. I don't have to go back to classic.
Yeah, no, I haven't done classic. I know some people that are into that, but I couldn't.
Okay, well then
I might eventually, but
I'll watch all 100 and some odd episodes there are in a fortnight, and who knows?
One of the doctors is Radagast. I don't watch the show either. So that's something.
That was classic, though. It's not one of the ones in the new episode.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know. I'm not as into it as some people, but I do really like the show, and it's awesome. Nice. But
I think it's great.
I think it's start at 9.
I think it's funny because not having watched it before and watching it now, I'm like, oh hey, they kind of do a lot of stuff here that we really want to do with this show, which is I mean they literally go to different time, space time, all that kind of stuff. We're not talking about time travel or anything, but we are talking about looking at some stuff that you think and making it surreal, very Indiana Jones sort of, where the Ark of the Covenant has magical powers. It's like that's what we've got going on here. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, no, that sounds like a lot of fun. Was Craig always supposed to live in a bong?
What?
Oh well.
Yes.
Was he always supposed to live in a bong?
No, I think we were just. It kind of came to be like Should he live in a bong? Yeah, I mean, he has to.
Of course he
He
has.
has
Yeah.
to.
Of course he has.
He's like
Now, is it like is it supposed to be like a little funny acrylic plastic thing that he lives in?
Like maybe
No.
it wasn't always used
I don't think
as a
so.
bong.
Yeah, no.
Maybe in the real thing it'll look a little more like something that's
Yeah.
Well,
1,000 years old.
And it looks closer to like what old ancient lamps. Like you were watching the
Yeah.
old I Dream of Jeannie, and her lamp looks like a bong.
She lives in a bottle, though.
Big stand-up lamp.
And
He
Craig
doesn't
would
live
beg
in a
to
lamp,
differ.
he lives
Craig
in a
would
bottle.
say, no, don't call it a bong. Craig would tell you to call it a lamp.
Yeah, he's very particular.
Yeah, he's very particular.
It's very particular. It's true.
But functionality-wise, it technically can be a bong.
But yeah,
He's smoked out.
It works
Yeah.
perfectly. As
A water pipe, if you're selling it.
All right.
So
Joey said
wonderful.
before that you guys have like 3 seasons, like arced out. Is that like how far are you with this?
I mean, we have a lot of skeletons that we could like add meat to if we feel necessary. You know, like it's all in place for a really natural progression. So really, you know, we are most vested in this episode 1 and this first couple of episodes. Because if we're given an opportunity by somebody to continue making episodes, we want to have that on lock. And so we've given a lot of time and attention to not just making this some flimsy show that you watch, but something with a lot of depth that's a lot of fun. And so we really focused on the front end of it right now, you know, the first couple of episodes. But we do have an idea of what we'd like to see in the future, you know. But hey, if that future comes, then everyone will get to see it. So.
The cool thing too is that there's nothing perpetual about the story that we tell. Like it's not like the kind of show. It's not like Doug. Where like every day it's the same day. It's like as we grow as actors, as filmmakers, as producers, so will the characters and so will the story. And it progresses and we learn and we mature. So it's really fun to watch it change. You can get like 4 or 5 seasons deep, and and these are different people now.
Yeah,
Can you
because
tell
there's a
that we
lot
like cartoons? We keep referencing cartoons to make our points. Can
Yeah.
you tell that we enjoy
Like
a lot of cartoons?
Yeah,
That's
and it's
totally
like
normal.
characters we've talked about introducing, and even a lot of the side characters that a lot of people don't know. Because a lot of people, you know, thus far only know about Pat, Google, and Craig, and there's a lot of characters that are other supporting characters that will consistently be in the show and that serve like a very specific function to like making these characters, bringing lots of depth to these characters, and like making the world very rich, and like also creating conflict, like people's like girlfriends and enemies.
Maybe
and, like,
the villain from the screenplay might come back because
Exactly.
we keep that alive as if that did still happen, and so
you know,
he
you
can
want to
make
make it feel like anything. That was one to reference again something else.
Pokemon.
That was not Pokemon. What that was so great about watching the new Star Trek was that it was like watching the team get back together,
Yeah.
and you're like watching like, oh, cool, like it's the team, it's like the gang. So like I think there's like a let's get the team like right mentality here, where it's like let's get like, and especially in the pilot episode, that's like the point is you want to like get people to like these characters, you want to get people to like get on board with like who they are, what they do, and the kind of wacky adventures they be in, while like still addressing like their faults and the things that they could learn from. So I think that's kind of like key right now with the pilot, and it's like still getting worked out, which is nice because we have some time to figure that out before, you know, we would theoretically start shooting. So yeah,
And you guys are gonna shoot the second week of July.
that's the plan, because I leave for Judas in Chicago like halfway through July. So once I a little bit after that. So once I leave for that, it's like, yeah, the goal would be to be all done before we get
before you leave.
before I leave. So
Yeah. So we're just like mid pre-production right now. We kind of have to. Since we launched the Kickstarter, we basically don't stop until it's the screening. Really, it's done.
We've been very nonstop over here.
Yeah.
So just you know, just keeping it coming. You know.
Especially Pat.
How do you guys? Is everything on track with Kickstarter? Are you satisfied with how it's going?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't be happier. We're past 20%, which is fantastic. You know, we would love to continue to grow at the pace that we have been, and just keep getting the word out. Keep getting people to believe, trust, and enjoy this product that we've got here.
Yeah, and we're having a lot of fun. Me, Jordan, Lisa, and everybody doing like the daily updates. We're kind of running it like a little. not like a TV station, but kind of like, it's like every day we release something. So that's been like a lot of fun. Just kind of all the fans have been so nice. It's been so sweet. They're just like, everyone. It's like. I mean, I don't want anyone to like rob anyone, but I'm like waiting for one day. It's like, hey, I like stole my neighbor's face and I sold it, so I can turn it into Kickstarter. It's so great. It's like everyone's like so just like supportive and really sweet.
Everyone's been really, really, really awesome, and we feel that. We feel it in waves, and we really appreciate that. So, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Coming thus far. Why don't we take this moment to plug yet again?
Yeah.
If you have it out there. Please, every dollar counts. I know that's the toughest thing about Kickstarter is making people feel like, oh, it's not worth it. It's like, but it is worth it. It's like, because, if people out there, half the people out there that either were on Twitter or something or know about us or whatnot, or just donated $1, it's like we get there and you get your name in a pretty kick-ass thank you video.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
that
saw
was such a kick-ass thank you video.
Pretty funny goofs in there.
Yeah.
So and it's really it's cool. I feel bad sometimes because we've kind of been it's been a big Kickstarter a couple of months.
Yeah.
But to everyone out there who's been still with us and supporting us, it's like thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It's like it's just a labor of love that we're trying to get off the ground. So thank you for sure.
Well, I was talking to a couple of fans today because it's pretty much what I do when I run around the city doing my job, and then I'll be on Twitter all day, and I talk to a lot of Joey's fans. So
Thank you.
We were talking about a telethon for you guys to do.
Yeah.
You could come up with challenges when we hit X dollars, we'll do this instead. You know what I mean? A live.
Dude, that would be
thing.
Yeah, we love that. We were actually talking about doing something like that. But that's really cool.
Well, if you want help, I'm sure a couple of us could talk to you about it.
Yeah, what do you have in mind for that?
Well, I got the idea from these girls who they used to do it. I don't remember what they were raising money for, but it was something for Star Kid. And these girls, they stayed up, it was a 24-hour thing where they were, on Ustream or something, doing, challenges, and, they got people to donate things for them to auction off. And then, but see, if you guys do it, you can just be you can have this signed thing that I'm going to sign right now.
Yeah.
And then, if they would hit certain numbers, they would, perform, or they would do silly antics, and things like that. So.
Love silly antics.
Sell a pair of my socks or something.
Yeah, those are very desirable.
Pre-worn,
That's very interesting. No, I like that. We're
it could be a lot of fun
over here. We're taking in everything right now.
And if you wanted someone to help host it,
Well, yeah.
that's what I do. All right. Okay. So I did have a question for Joey.
Yes.
This project seems very different from previous work of yours.
It is.
You have fans who know you from the Disney Channel. Do you feel like that's going to be a challenge to get them on board with a genie who lives in a bong?
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of the point of being an artist, I guess. It's I don't know. I hate to reference someone like James Franco, but it's James Franco was just in Oz the Great and Powerful, the Disney tentpole movie of the summer for Disney about the Wizard of Oz, and James Franco's also in Pineapple Express, where he plays a drug dealer, and Spring Breakers, where he makes out with previous Disney. So it's one of those things where, I obviously have a sense of humor that is different than a lot of the other things. I find stoner comedies funny. I find kind of things like that funny, and it's a fact that I don't know. I guess at one point in my career, hopefully, as I grow as an artist and I get older, as I start to work on other projects that involve different things, that I would eventually start to veer in a certain direction, or maybe want to attempt a project like this. So it's kind of why not now? Why not start now? But yeah, it may be a challenge, but everyone's gotta do things that they feel passionate about, and this is like definitely something that I feel very passionate about and love the group of people that I'm working with. So it's one of those things where I don't know, that kind of outweighs the idea of like, oh, whether or not, oh, maybe I shouldn't. It's like, I don't know, if you don't, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if you don't find this funny, or if this isn't your like cup of tea, and it's like, oh no, what's Joey doing this? It's like, that's okay. You don't have to get involved if you don't want to, but I'd like to think that if as I grow up and a lot of people grow up, that maybe if you want to go on the journey with me and come with me and see what else I get involved in, you would. So it's not like a scary thing or like a thing I'm freaking out about. It's just that's kind of like...
It's just new.
It's just new, exactly. It's just new,
And Craig he's also like, not to be seen as like a role model, so it's not like a very...
Exactly.
I feel like, it's like, we're not like, oh yeah, everyone should live in a bog. It's like kind of, it's not the most positive spin on like sort of that sort of thing.
Yeah, the show is surprisingly more about growing up and realizing, and like, it's kind of like a cautionary tale in a weird way, and a story about, like, it centers around the character Pat, and Pat being the character that, through all these crazy people in his lives, like, needs to grow up, like needs to learn responsibility,
growing up in spite of all this debauchery,
in spite of this. So
the title character Craig is I think probably the title character because he's the root of most conflict and most driving storytelling. So it's like it's really about the role model here is Patrick, in that it's like when you're 23, 24 years old, it's time to grow up, and it's time to get serious, and it's time to set aside the partying and be serious about your job. That's usually what he's fighting for. So it's a good, there's a message in there.
There's a message. It's not totally entirely veer in the direction like, well, it's just going to be 30 minutes of everyone just getting stoned and like doing stupid crap. It's like, no.
Some people would watch that. All right, I have a couple more.
Cool.
If you guys had a genie, what would you wish for?
Oh. A house in Ireland. A castle in Ireland.
Oh, too late. You got a house.
Yeah, see, that's why it's hard. Should have thought about it.
Flight, invisibility.
A hobbit hole in Ireland.
Infinite money. Sorry.
You went from a castle to a hobbit hole?
If you only knew.
Pat is
a hobbit hole that you open up that leads somehow into a castle.
Yes.
That's in Ireland.
Perfect.
There we go.
That's the most honest thing you've ever said.
Yeah. That is so honest.
Maybe free food wherever I go.
Yeah.
It's like, if you never had to pay for food anymore and you could go to any restaurant. There was a time recently where I was just like, it'd be great. It's like if I ever, started making money where I was like, I wouldn't have to worry about things and I'd be more comfortable. It's like I would never buy a big house. I don't even know. I'd probably I'd live in the same apartment. Drive the same car. Do that. I would just love to eat really well and travel to places where, like, with friends. So I go, so if I can knock one of those out with a wish and just eat free food everywhere, then I just only spend my money on traveling places.
You already get sent everywhere with your friends.
Exactly.
That's
probably
wish
just
number
be
2
like,
for me, actually.
Yeah, probably
to
just live like Anthony Bourdain, because he has an awesome life.
We're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
I would wish for our Kickstarter to reach 200% of its goal.
Then we wouldn't even need Kickstarter.
Yeah. And a million wishes. It doesn't work. It never works. A million wishes never works.
No.
What would you wish for?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it.
Tables have turned.
I'm not the one being interviewed. I'd probably wish for my own place because I don't care for my living situation right now.
Well, New York is tough. I hear. I've never been, but I hear bad things about it.
You should come.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not scared.
They have pizza.
I'm not scared.
I have dollar slices of pizza.
They do. We do have dollar slices of pizza, and we have Broadway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jordan, did you see my tweet before about song recommendations for tonight?
I did.
Yes.
And we have them prepared.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I gave you guys like a homework assignment. Awesome.
It's fantastic. I love homework.
Okay. So lay them on me so I can get them ready to go.
Okay, Joey, you want to read? Joey's is
Mine's Electric Avenue by Eddie Grant.
Oh, mine is Apparitions by Hush War Cry.
I did the song Sweetheart, I think it's called, by M. Ward. Sort of a rock sort of song.
I wanted Black Magic Woman by Santana.
Nice.
And I have recommended Elephant by Tame Impala. Yes.
Or Damien Rice.
Right now, that's what I think of when I think of rock music.
That's such a different song.
So yeah, do we pass?
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm surprised that it's not Blink-182 from Joey, but that's okay.
Oh.
I was like sticking with the theme, you know. I was like trying to get with the theme, and I just remember that Electric Avenue is in the Pineapple Express soundtrack. So I was like, oh, that's a great song. I was like sticking with the theme. I didn't know I thought it was a theme thing.
Is there a theme?
It's the Sound of My Summer 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Sound of My Summer many years ago.
Yeah.
3?
Cool, man. I
4
I
years ago.
play so many various things. It's supposed to be alternative rock, and then Star Kid fans took over my audience, which is awesome. But, you know, sometimes I play Star Kid songs. Okay, where can people see your other work?
Well,
On our,
You've seen Joey's other work.
yeah.
Well, maybe some people haven't. Joey, what do you do?
oh well. For those of you who don't know, a lot of my work can be seen in some of the online musicals of Team Star Kid online, in the Harry Potter in all of the Harry Potter trilogy. Me and my Dick, Starship.
Search for
And then,
on
a lot of the space tour and the Apocalypse tour, Star Kid things. And then, you could also catch me on the Disney Channel when they're rerunning my Jessie episodes, which is pretty fun.
We love Jesse.
It's on Netflix. Did you know you're on Netflix?
They are. A lot of actually, season 1 is on Netflix.
Yeah.
So any episodes, I think only just one of them.
The first
Season-
Officer Petey one, right?
About first officer, 2 seasons are on Netflix.
No, 2 episodes of yours are on Netflix.
Wait, Bad Fellas, and then
Scary.
Scary
Yeah.
Calls, Cattle Calls, and Scary Walls. Yeah.
Of course.
I watch all of them, can't you tell?
And then, those could be seen on Netflix, which is pretty fun. And that's cool. And then, for just a hot second on Glee, just a spell blank or you miss me.
A lukewarm second.
And then, what else? I mean, guess that's about. And then in some projects that we've got. Oh, and then in School of Thrones, which is another fun web series that parodies Game of Thrones in high school, and that's pretty fun. So that's like right now where you can probably catch me, and then upcoming in Judas Redux this summer live in person. But then we've got some projects that might be coming up soon as part of this
Brandon, you want to tell us about
month.
So you guys can find me on Vimeo, just Brandon Blanks on Vimeo. I got some videos on there, and can we give away what we're rolling out tomorrow?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. We can give him a preview.
Yeah. So starting every Thursday, we're going to start doing Throwback Thursdays, and so we're going to be showing like old movies that I made that we're all in. And so tomorrow is a fan favorite. I think it's on my Vimeo page, but it's going to be on our YouTube page as well. You can find us on YouTube. We're Cool Pool Party, but it's because that was taken because YouTube is all the good names been taken. It's Cool Zero Pool Zero Party. So Cool Pool Party is kind of like our little our production group, kind of So Cool Pool Party.
It's linked
what
on
you
the
can call
Kickstarter,
us,
though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be our name essentially.
Our brand, I guess.
Yeah, it's in its infancy.
We're branding up, and we're Cool Pool Party.
Cool Pool Party.
And there'll be some fun Cool Pool Party projects and stuff that we'll be teasing and perhaps releasing as things for the next month.
Perhaps this Saturday.
And Saturday, there's another little video. I'm looking at the calendar right now. I don't want to give away. So Saturday we got another video. We're gonna have new videos every Saturday, and so I hope you guys like all that stuff. You guys enjoying all the stuff we're putting out?
Yeah. Between Thank You Mondays and Throwback Thursdays and starting starting this week with your show, we're going to do podcast Wednesdays because we love this.
Yeah.
So we're gonna interview ourselves next week this time, and we'll post that as well. So between that and video Saturdays, we're gonna have 3 or 4 things to watch a week from here on in, and they'll all come up at Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the. Oh, I'm sorry, not Friday. Those 4 days.
Yeah.
Whatever days I said. At 5 p.m. Yeah, absolutely. On that channel on YouTube.
All right. So I have one more question, just because this is like almost 3 years later for me and Joey. Right before your senior year started, and I asked you what your plans were after graduation, and you said you were going to move to Chicago and work with Star Kid.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
It just didn't happen. It was just one of those things where, you know, men plan and God laughs. Because it's just like, it's just things. It was like, I felt the need halfway through the year, like things kind of changed. I was able to work on Starship, which was like such a blessing, but it was just one of those things where it was funny how after Starship, opportunities arose that weren't in Chicago, based out of Starship though. So it's like, it was kind of like a situation that you had planned on and then got kind of turned on its head based on the fact that you made that decision in the first place. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened there. I mean, it's, you know, a lot of people, I read things, you know, I read so many silly things on sites and comments of YouTube sections of like the things I've chosen to do and, or why didn't Joey do Batman? He chose to be in Disney shows. It's like, you don't choose that kind of stuff. It doesn't happen. It's like, you don't kind of, you know, and it's not as black and white as people seem to be, where it's like, oh, I guess he just didn't want to work on this. And it's like, and you know, people, why, you know, bring in Twisted? It's because we've been working on this, and this was like the time we were going to work on this. So, you know, and this was planned months before we were, you know, going to work on that. So it's just, you know, things like that where everything's a little more, it's a lot more gray area to a lot of things than, you know, and thought and kind of like the, you know, weighing pros and cons than the simple decisions. So yeah, I think the Chicago thing was just very much I don't know, just another opportunity that I don't know if it would have been there a year later, 2 years later, when I maybe decided to move back to LA, was presented itself then. So that was kind of the decision. And I've been lucky enough because I've been able to travel back to Chicago enough times. I mean, shit, I've been to Chicago. Holy shit! Like I go to Chicago like maybe twice a month. No, not twice a month. Like once every like 2 months, and like sometimes for extended periods of time to like do things. So it's worked out, you know. But yeah, it's been good.
And we're happy to have you here.
Hey, thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask the question again.
Oh yes.
Where do you guys see yourselves a year from now?
Ooh, in Castle in Ireland.
I was gonna say
when the genie grants your wish.
I don't know, you guys. I mean,
who knows?
Well, if everything goes like according to plan, we'd probably be shooting, like, you know, Netflix picks us up. We'll just be shooting season 1 or 5. We'll skip.
It's when seasons of television start churning out so quickly. So we'll probably be on the 6th season.
Yeah,
within a year.
I can tell you something for certain. You know, no matter the outcome, I'm going to be working with these people in a year.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's for sure.
At whatever level that may be, you know, I'll be working with these people in a year.
We do a lot of talking about other projects that we want to do after this too, and amidst this. I mean, I know that for sure that I have stuff that Brandon and I talk about all the time that we want to write and we want to do. I mean, this is just one of the many projects that we're about to bring to the table, and in the next year, there's going to be quite a few.
So look out,
especially if Craig is successful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, where can they find you? I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows where to find Joey online. Where can they find the rest of you guys online?
We are currently working on making that more accessible. We're starting with throwing all the content on the YouTube channel at Cool Pool Party. We'll have Facebook pages and websites and all that stuff in the coming weeks, and we'll make sure to announce that on the Kickstarter and through the Kickstarter.
Twitter.
Yeah. Until then, we've all got Twitters too. We tweet a lot, and Joey retweets us a fair bit. So you see, you got JK Official, Drew Parkhill, and what are you?
Brandon underscore
Blanks. And Pat.
And
You can
Pat.
just
You can just message Pat on Facebook.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
I'll get back to you.
Post Pat's number.
But we got all that going. Coming
Okay.
soon.
Google Street View images.
All right. Well, thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you, for sure.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye, world.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Did you guys both say that? Yeah.